First claims war with Iraq is just weeks away. Former Chief Weapons Inspector Richard Butler says he's convinced America will begin bombing by early March. And Prime Minister Howard holds little hope for a peaceful solution of the Iraq crisis. He's also linked his political future with the disarming of Saddam Hussein, saying the world must condemn Iraq unanimously to avoid war.
A red carpet, a blanket of snow and a heightened security alert greeted John Howard in Washington. The Australian Prime Minister warmly welcomed by the United States administration as a willing ally. John Howard confident our views matter at the White House.
I mean, we don't want to exaggerate it, but equally we don't want to be shrinking violets about our capacity to have an influence.
A view reinforced by this assessment of Australia and our PM by a key member of the Bush administration.
The United States has no better friend and no longer standing friend than Australia.
The Prime Minister also found himself watching his step on the domestic political front after his pledge to see the Iraqi issue through to its conclusion was interpreted as a change in his private retirement timetable.
Any suggestion of walking away from my responsibilities during a time like this would be, quite out of the question.
It's the only decision he can take, Paul. I mean, he can't commit our troops and not himself. That's the point of it.
Checking into the President's exclusive Washington guest house, Mr Howard will meet the American leader Tuesday, our time. With Australia and the US singing the same tune on Iraq, both leaders know their main task now is to extract a workable agreement out of the UN Security Council. John Howard says the only way war can be averted now is unanimous world opinion forcing Saddam Hussein to back down. A desirable but unlikely outcome.
The prospects of a peaceful resolution don't look good at present.
In Washington, Greg Turnbull, 10 News.
Defence Minister Robert Hill is tipping that if there is war with Iraq, victory will be quick. And America says the world will know within weeks if such action is necessary.
Thousands of British soldiers are expected to follow these tanks to the Gulf next week. 42,000 Brits are being deployed, joining 110,000 American soldiers already in the region. US Defence Secretary Donald Rumsfeld tried to rally support for war from European leaders today, but ran into some tough opposition.
You have to make the case. And to make a case in the democracy, you must convince by yourself. Excuse me, I'm not convinced. This is my problem. And I cannot go to the public and say, oh, well, let's go to war because there are reasons and so on, and I don't believe in that.
Germany and France say weapons inspectors need more time, and they've been working on a plan which includes tripling the number of inspectors, with UN peacekeepers providing protection. Secretary Rumsfeld didn't back down.
It's difficult to believe that there still could be question in the minds of reasonable people open to the facts before them.
Chief Weapons Inspector Hans Blix met with Iraqi officials in Baghdad. He says the talks were substantial.
We are continuing tomorrow, and it is a useful discussion.
Blix is expected to press for the passage of legislation to outlaw weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. In his national radio address, President George Bush told the nation to brace itself for war if the UN doesn't stand behind its demands of Iraq to disarm.
Having made its demands, the Security Council must not back down when those demands are defied and mocked by a dictator.
The Pope said the world should not resign itself to war. He will meet with Iraqi Foreign Minister Tariq Aziz later this week. Michelle Stone, in the United States, 10 News.